Hi, this is Karen Gaines, your nonprofit finance guide, and today I'm going to talk about the importance of having written policies. So let's just say there was an executive director, and the executive director saw the need for petty cash. So this ED got $500 of petty cash. He put it in a box and put it in a drawer. And so he went to his staff and said, hey, I just got $500 of petty cash. It's in this drawer over here. And you all are allowed to use the petty cash on small items, office supplies, things that may come up, anything like that. I want you all to just go ahead, use the petty cash as needed, and I'll replenish it when it gets empty. And so the executive director, after some time, he found that he was replenishing that petty cash every week. He was putting $500 in that petty cash drawer every week. And so, he started wondering, like, what in that world is going on with this cash? And so, he looks to one staff member and notices a electronic mug on her desk. He looks at another staff and notices a fancy new monitor on on that desk. And so, he got to thinking and he's like, I wonder if these individuals are using petty cash to make these purchases. And so he approached them, asked them, did you use petty cash for these new items? And they said, yes, we did. And he's like, well, why? And so they said, because you said we could use petty cash for small purchases that we needed. And we needed these items, and so we used petty cash. And so the executive director, he was angry, rightly so, and, he explained, hey, these are not important small purchases. But, I would definitely in this case, I would put the responsibility on the executive director. The executive director should have had a written policy in place. If he had a written policy in place, he could have avoided this whole mess that was created. Okay, so, that leads me into the importance of having written policy. So, what is a policy? So a policy is a standard or guideline that provides instructions and expectations to guide behavior and decision maker for a particular topic or situation. In the example that I just used relating to petty cash, I provided a scenario in which petty cash was being overused. Since there was no policy in place, everyone used their own personal judgment as to how petty cash was to be used, and the result was disastrous. All right? So when you have verbal policies and you don't have written policies, the results are generally devastating. Verbal policies can result in a number of negative circumstances. One being the misunderstandings of what is expected. When a statement is made to a group of people, people will have their own interpretation as to what is said, as to what it is said. Verbal policies, when you have verbal policies, there's no record, no document of any expectations ever made. This creates conflict and makes it very difficult to hold people accountable. You may face legal consequences. When legal disputes arise, especially when it comes to employer and employee relations, there are no written policies, you could face legal trouble, and that could mean thousands and thousands of dollars for your organization. Another circumstance that could arise is lost money and a decreased bottom line. Since written policies are not in place, people have the freedom to spend whatever they want. When it comes to performance, when it comes to job performance that affect revenue, it will likely be lower because there are no expectations in place. There's the potential for bias to arise. A verbal policy will be implemented in one scenario, but then in another scenario, it's not going to be implemented. So it's kind of like a pick and choose of when you want to follow the rules. Having verbal policies and not having written policies makes you appear unprofessional. When you don't have written policies, your organization appears unorganized, and kind of in disarray. The people in your organization will feel less confident in the leadership of the organization. So the above scenarios are just a few things that can go wrong when there are no written policies, and they often lead to lost money, lost revenue, decreased profits. Policies provide a foundation and stability for an organization to run off on. When the foundation is fragile, when there are no written policies in place, the foundation of the organization is fragile, is non-existent, and trouble is sure to come. So let's look at what it looks like when you do have written policies in place. So when you do have written policies in place, it produces positive circumstances in most cases. There's clarity. There's clarity of what is expected of everyone. Everyone is on the same page as to what they should do. This minimizes misunderstandings and confusion. It actually improves profitability. Written policies often provide expectations on how others should perform. This results in enhanced performance in order for revenue to be obtained and therefore your bottom line to increase. It's very easy to hold people accountable when you have policies in place, written policies in place. If someone does not follow the rules or is not performing to expectation, it's easy to bring up the policy to them to remind them of what is expected. It also prevents bias and favoritism, as we talked about earlier. Written policies, it cuts out the ambiguity and loopholes that can be used when verbal policies are used. It prevents conflict. Written policies have a way of putting everyone on the same page. Disputes and arguments are avoided when there are guidelines in place. It also provides formality. When policies are written, people often take them more seriously. I believe it's because there is now a living document in place that is able to hold them accountable. So it is important to have written policies so that your organization has order, structure, it has fairness, and it has peace. Peace occurs from it too. Written policies save you time, money, and heartache. When you don't have written policies in place, productivity diminishes, more money is spent as there are no official boundaries in place. Time is wasted because people don't know exactly what is expected of them. And there's more heartache because people are arguing over unclear expectations. When you have written policies in place, productivity increases. Everyone is on the same page and confusion is minimized. The organization is more profitable and in a better position for growth, and overall, everyone is happier. So I hope this video has been helpful for you. Let me know what you all think. If you're watching via YouTube, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching and have a great day.